So good morning students. Today in this particular session we'll be discussing the course that is Design of Transmission Systems, and I'll explain this course in such a manner that the course becomes simpler and easier. So there is a prerequisite for every subject. So here in this particular course, what are the prerequisites that the student should have? Number one, student should have the knowledge of the machines. Second, they should have basic science knowledge. Means they should be aware of how the mechanism works and how the machines are connected. Then fundamental learning, very important. Then students, you should have an understanding mind. Understanding mind means whatever the content is delivered, so you have to integrate yourself with the existing machine systems or elements. Then your thinking should be in such a manner that you try to coordinate this particular subject or course with the industrial applications. Now then, analyzing of the machines. Analyzing of the machines means in particular selection of a particular machine, you should be aware that what sort of mechanism is behind that machine and how that are operational or functional. Then physical interaction with the machines. Now whatever the content or whatever the module, the course is being divided, so you have to have a physical interaction, means you have to see the machine, how it looks, how it works, what are the mechanism behind it, and what can be done for the future so that there is an enhancement in the machine design. Now I already told you about the prerequisites of the subject. So prerequisites is very important. So this is very important. So you should have a mindset that if we are executing this particular course, then these prerequisites are very important. Now I'll come to the next slide. So here in this particular, we'll be knowing what types of books are important, and see there are number of books and number of materials available. So we have to select a particular book. As per you can see there is a McGraw-Hill. So this is the publisher. So they all give a very good quality books. All right. The authors, there are various authors who have contributed to the book. So we have Shingle, Bhandari, and again we have Shingle with other co-authors. So any of these books you can refer. So here we can see this is the 8th edition. So this is the upgraded of this particular book. So you can refer any book. The main important is the content and the understanding. Like whatever topic or whatever module or whatever unit you have, you should be focusing on that particular topic with a schematic layout explanation and some mathematical equations. Now next is the application. So as per the flexibility in the transmission system, what we can see here is there are heavy load applications required in the industries. Industries are manufacturing materials at a very larger scale. So to handle that materials, we should have a system or machine systems that are capable of handling or maintaining the machines. Now there are some examples you can see in an industrial unit. We have the heavy duty crane moves within the shop on fixed rails. Now there is a movement of the machines, and there is a movement means the machines are being fixed at a rooftop with some flexibilities. So we have to see how this particular machine is being applicable, And the machines, what application does this machine incur? Whether these types of machines are used for lifting heavy loads, lifting large scale size materials, and other industrial equipments or units. Now in the right side we have wheels that winds the metal ropes. Then we have the machines that consist of various ropes, flexible systems that are used to lift heavy objects. Now next we can see a heavy duty crane. These cranes use rope drives in addition to gear drives. Now in this flexible system, we should be aware what type of mechanism is important, what material is being used, how the components work. So for this particular coursework, engineering mechanics is very important, then material study is very important, then the main fundamental physics is very important. Now in the right side you can see the rope drives. Then here in the third image you can see how the machines are using the lifters to lift the heavy materials and transport it from one source to another. Now when we come to the syllabus, we have various units. So here in the first unit we will be studying the uh, flexible transmission elements. What are the flexible transmission elements, how it works? Then we'll study the design of a flat belt and pulley, very important. Then the selection of V belt and pulley. So here also design of V belt is important. Then selection of hoisting wire ropes. According to a particular application, what type of wire ropes are important and the which type of systems are being required for wire ropes and pulleys. Then in the last we will discuss about the design of chains and sprockets. So how chains and sprockets plays an important role in the transmission of the machine elements. Now as we know that this particular subject is flexible transmission systems. So we have to understand physics behind the machine system. Very important. Physics is very important. Now we come to the topic that is a flexible transmission elements. Now, first of all, when we come to the definition of a flexible transmission element, now it comprises of a belt drive. So as you can see how the belt drive is moving. So there is a tension being created here. All right. So though there is also a tension being created here. So in a particular transmission system, what is important is the driver and the driven. So we have a mechanism where when we connect the driver with a pulley, that pulley will rotate the driven element. So this is a driver element and this is a driven element. So once the driver element is moving in a clockwise direction, so countered is a driven element. So a driver element drives and the driven element is countered. So the motion of a driver is in the clockwise, whereas the motion of the driven will be in the anti-clockwise direction. Now see in this particular mechanism, what you can see here is this is a flat belt pulley. When the flat belt pulley is connected with an idler, so what does an idler do is idler creates a more tractive force that is being required so that the functional element of a driver and a driven becomes smoothened, and a tension is being created that produces the same exact amount of RPM that is the driver is having with the driven without a slip. So an idle pulley basically what it does is it provides additional support to the driver and the driven so that the machine elements works in a very smooth and without any vibration. All right. Now here you can see a cross belt drive. So what happens in a cross belt drive? We have the driving element and the driven element with a cross section. In a cross section, what happens is there are chances that slip do takes place, and there are chances that the meeting of the belt take place. So if for a while the positioning is very important. Positioning means the driving element and the driven element, whether they are coordinated on a straight axis or whether they are coordinated on an inclined axis. So the cross belt drive always are being utilized on a cross axis, means a tilted axis. So the when you see it from the top view, so you will be able to see how the cross belt drives are being impinged on the particular you can say a shaft or an axle, right? Now the flexible power transmission element we already discussed, it consists of all the chain drives, ropes, all right. So they are elements that are used being flexible. The material of a belt drive is such a way that it creates a flexibility. So you must have studied in your stress strain diagram or there, if the material is elastic, there is a material being plastic, there is a material being rigid. So if a rigid material will be used in this particular application, then the chances are it will be very hard and it can break. So a flexible material is always applicable so that it can smoothen and give the complete traction. So what we are here requiring is a traction mode. Traction mode for particular smooth drive, right? Now they are commonly used in short power distances. Wire ropes are used for long and power transmission systems. Now belt, rope chains and other flexible elements are used in conveying the belt systems and in the transmission of power over comparatively long distances. So in many cases their use simplify the design of machines and substantially reduce the cost. So cost is very important. Every industry has to implement in cost reduction for greater performance and for optimization in the system. Now, so you should be students, you should be aware how the flexible transmission elements look like and how does it work. Now come to the types of flat belt and pulley. So we know that we have a open belt drive, then we have a crossed or twist belt drive, then we have a quarter turn belt drive, then we have a belt drive with a singular idler, then we have a belt drive with multiple idlers. So these are your multiple idlers. So according to the application and according to the amount of force that is being utilized from a driver element to the driven element, forces are very important and there should not be any slippage. If there is a slippage, then the exact amount of RPM will not be transmitted to the driven element. So driver element has always ensure to maintain the speed, and the belt drive that is being impinged on the driver element and the driven element should be tight enough so that exact power can be required, or we can say exact power can be given on the driven element. So students, first of all we'll study the designing of a flat belt pulley, but before designing you should be well versed with systems that consist of or we can say types of open belt, quarter turn belt, crossed or twist belt, and your with a singular idler or belt drive with a multiple idlers. So the types of flat belt and pulleys are very important. So these you should consider while studying this particular subject. Then again we have the types of in the types of flat belt we have a compound belt drive, we have a stepped or cone pulley drive, then we have a fast or loosen pulley drive. See what we are requiring at the end is how the arrangement of the pulleys and how the arrangement of the belt drives, or how the motion is being transmitted, and what are the generating elements and what are the receiving elements. So here the driver is the generating elements and driven are the receiving elements. So this is very, very important. So whenever we will study in details about these compound belt drives, then we will study about the stepped or cone belt drives. So very important is you should know how the power is being transmitted and what are the important formulas or equations that will be helpful in solving the numericals of this particular subject. So this is a numerical based subject, so maximum part will be covered for the numericals. So completing the numericals, you should understand the basic science behind it. Until or unless you do not know the science behind it, you will not be able to solve the numericals. All right. So I'll give you the list of all the important numericals, how the numericals are being solved, and what are the physics behind it. Then when we discuss about the, I'm just giving an overview of this particular module. So selection of a V belt or a pulley. See, if we have a drive that requires a groove, so there is a groove, that groove gives space to this particular belt so that the belt do not slip away from the pulley and move out from the system. So if it will move out, so the belt will not transmit the you can say power from your driven element to the driving element. So you must have seen the belt V belt drive in your vehicles. So whenever you open the cab bonnet of your car, so you will be able to see how the crankshaft is connected to the your uh, camshaft. So there is a from connection of a camshaft to the crankshaft, there is a connection of a V belt so that it opens the valves so that the uh, opening closing of the valve takes place and the combustion of engines takes place. So for operation of the camshaft, we can say the belt is connected from the camshaft machine element to the crankshaft machine elements. In between, we have the V belt or V belt drive that helps to transmit the motion, right? Now, in this particular selection of a V belt, what you see here is there is a typically V belt section and a groove geometry. So you should be aware of the naming, or you can say nomenclature of the V belt, where these parameters represent the groove angle. Then we have the chord, then the pitch diameter, very important. Then we have the groove depth. Then we have the outside diameter of the sheave. So these schematic layouts of this V belt and pulley are very, very important. So the pulley has a circumferential groove, very important, and the size of the sieve is indicated by its pitch diameter, slightly smaller than the outside diameter of the sleeve. So the belt has to be inserted inside this space, that is your groove basically. So it has a circumferential groove. So this particular circumferential groove has a force. You can say the force is making an intact of this belt with the particular sheave. So this is a sheave. So this is a sheave here inside. This is a sheave, and we have a V belt sheave. So this V belt sheave has a space in which a V belt can be inserted and power can be transmitted. So very important is you should know how the V belt pulley or V belt machine elements looks like. Okay, so we'll discuss how what type of parameters are important in selecting of this V belt and pulley. Now next we have the topic that is selection of a hoisting wires and ropes and pulleys. See, basically what are these are the hanging systems or machine elements in an industries where it is required to lift and transmit, or you can say transport. So lift means it has to be lifted, material has to be lifted. So material is impinged with a machine element. This machine element lifts it in the upward direction and also transport it in the forward direction. So the usage of this particular hoisting wire ropes and pulleys is the movement of the machine element in industries where there is a requirement of material lifting and material transporting from one workshop to another workshop. So material has to be lifted, transported. For these, there is a machine element systems that are known as your hoisting wires and ropes and pulleys. So we'll be discussing in details what are the names that are being used for these hoisting wires. We have an anchor bolt, forward lever, we have a shear pin, then backward lever, then the rope clamp system. So the material consists of high strength cast aluminum alloy body and wire rope mounted on the reel. So reel means this particular portion. How this particular portion lifts it, then rolls it on the shaft and transmit or transport from one workshop to the another workshop, one workshop to the another workshop. All right. So this is very important how these machine elements are playing their significant role in the industrial applications. Now, next topic in this particular module is designing of a chain or a sprocket. So you already, all of you, you are aware of your motorcycle chain, how the chains are being impinged on the sprockets and how we are getting the drive. Here instead of the belt, leather belt, we are using the machine, or you can say material, that is your solid, that is consisting of your metal. So the metal part is the chain and we have the sprocket. So for higher RPMs or higher speeds, instead of belt drive or pulley, we are transmitting it through the chain and the sprocket. So chains and sprocket, when used for higher RPM or high speeds, so there are less chances of power losses. So for that a particular application, chains and sprockets are being used or utilized. So in this particular designing of a chain and a sprocket, what important is we should know how the mating of the sprocket and the chain takes place. What are the parameters? What are the pitch circle? What are the pitch diameter? What are the outside diameter? So the pitch circle. So these meshing of chain with the sprocket means if the pitch circle will meet for chain and a sprocket, then there will be higher power transmission. If they are not meeting, if there is a slippage, so that slippage means the chain and the sprocket might have vibration or it can break. So very important is we should know that a particular chain and a sprocket, the pitch circle should be on the same point. Now in second unit, there is a gear transmissions, speed ratios, forces analysis. So these fatigue strength, factor safety, gear materials. So this all we will study in details. Then we have design of the spur gear, parallel, axial, helical gears, pressure angles, equivalent number of teeth and forces for the helical gear. So this will be covering in the unit part 2. Then unit part 3 consists of the straight bevel gears, the forces on the tooth, stresses, equivalent number of teeth, why it is important, the dimensions of straight bevel gears. Then we will study the worm gears, merits and demerits. Then terminology, what do you understand by thermal capacity, material forces, efficiency, estimating the size of the worm gear, cross helical gears, what are the terminologies being used, helix angles, and sizing of pairs of these helix angles. So these will be covering in the unit number 3. Then the unit number 4 consists of gearbox, geometrical progressions, standard step ratios, the ray diagrams, kinematic layout, the design of sliding mesh gearbox, design of multi-seat gearbox for machine tool applications, then constant mesh gearbox, speed reducer units, and variable speed gearbox. Consist of fluid couplings, torque converters for automotive applications. So these points will be covered in unit 4. Now unit 5, cam design type for power transmission, pressure angles, forces, then how the clutches are being designed, what type of cone clutches are there, cone clutches, then internal expanding rim clutches, electromagnetic clutches, the bands and block brakes, external shoe brakes, and internal expanding shoe brakes. So these unit